The NBA playoffs is off and rolling. We're getting close to the end of the first round now. Some games or some series have already wrapped up. Some series still in the midst of things. Right now, the Bucks and Heat are playing Game 4. It's 2-1 Heat right now. But the last time we checked, it looks like the Bucks are going to tie up the series. Giannis is back tonight. What do you guys think of that series so far?
As you summarized it with the Bucks are probably going to even the series up. Jimmy will probably have 40 in the fourth quarter or something crazy like that.
Now he has like 35 or something.
He had 22 in the first quarter and only missed one shot. He was
going off.
Crazy.
Playoff Jimmy is here.
But Giannis is the unstoppable freight train.
Playoff
as
Giannis
long as
is
his
also
back is fine, they'll be fine.
Yeah, he's getting massaged like during timeouts and stuff. He's getting the massage gun in the back, so it looks like it's still an issue for him. But he's putting up his numbers. So
it's the biggest if with them. If Giannis is healthy, they're gonna win the championship, like I predicted last time. If he's not, if he has back problems that they have to deal with, if he even misses a third of their games, they might be in trouble because all it takes is one slip, and there's a lot of talent in the NBA.
Man, those two guys are dueling right now. With 6:30 left in the fourth, Jimmy has 37 points, 7 rebounds. Giannis, 23, 10, and 10, triple-double. There's two dominant players.
The story
I'd take either one of them on the Trailblazers.
Me too. The story of this playoffs so far has unfortunately been injuries to big players. Like, I feel like not even any role players are getting hurt. It's only stars getting hurt, and that's too
Tyler
bad.
Hero, I guess, just throwing out a role player that got hurt.
I would not put him in the role player category, but he's not a star, I guess. But
big loss.
He's a big part of the Heat, and
they just lost Victor Oladipo too, another role player for the rest of the season. Patellar tendon tear. Could that be the last time we see Oladipo? He's kind of had his fair share of injuries throughout his career.
Kind of felt like a little bit of a long, slow exit for Oladipo, and it wouldn't surprise me if this was the final curtain call.
Yeah, it's crazy. He was good. He was a young, exciting player.
Yeah, I still think the Bucks are probably going to wrap this one up. I think they're going to get some momentum behind Giannis now that he's back. So the Cavs and Knicks has been a really exciting series so far. I'm the only one here that predicted the Knicks would win, and they're up 3-1. It's fun to see good basketball from the Knicks, like in Madison Square Garden. I actually really like watching that. The fans it's a different level of excitement in Madison Square Garden. I know they're kind of up their own ass about how great of a basketball town they are, but it is true when you see good basketball played in New York and the celebrities come out and the whole bottom floor all standing and freaking out over every possession. Those two games in New York were really fun to watch. I watched quite a bit of both of them.
Yeah, New York should have a good basketball team, and right now it kind of looks like they do.
Heart of the city, Josh Hart, taken over in several games.
I miss him. The Knicks do have a much better basketball city than somebody like the Lakers in terms of fans. Lakers fans can get hyped, but the Knicks fans are like, anytime their team is good, they are loud.
They're rabid
show up
for
early.
it too.
Yeah, exactly.
The Lakers have been spoiled over the last couple of decades with how good they've been. The Knicks
and
is
the
like
Heat fans
2 playoff series wins in the last 20 some years.
Yeah. I'm shocked at the lack of success that the Cavaliers' big lineup has had.
Donovan Mitchell has been pretty bad since
been
his
bad.
Game 1.
Mobley has really underperformed. The Jarrett Allen Mobley combo hasn't really been able to score in the playoffs, and that's pretty shocking to me because I thought that Julius Randle's good, but he's not like a stopper.
He's having a bad series too.
He is, but like they don't really have a lockdown big other than Mitchell Robinson. I mean, Hartenstein's been pretty good too.
Yeah, Hartenstein has been playing good.
But,
they're getting big performances out of kind of role players that you wouldn't expect.
Exactly.
And Josh Hart is like, he's playing like a big guy too, which is funny. He's out rebounding Mobley and Allen.
Yeah, and
shout out to Jalen Brunson outplaying Donovan Mitchell in the series so far. We talked about it on the podcast last week that Jalen Brunson might be like a better player than Kyrie Irving at this point. He might be better than Donovan Mitchell too. So yeah, he's really establishing himself as a very capable guard.
He's just a really kind of a perfect player that you want leading your team in a playoff series because he's efficient. He's hard to stop. He doesn't have like a move that you can shut down. And he doesn't really rely on like streaky shooting. You know, he gets into the mid range and does a variety of pivot moves. He's got great footwork in there. He can finish. He's a lefty, and that seems to throw off people. So, you know, he could just be hot right now. It could be a matchup thing, but he looks really good right now as far as carrying that team and really being, you know, the catalyst for the Knicks.
Jalen Brunson is actually leading all players in isolation points right now, and that when it comes down to playoff basketball, isolation scoring is actually a premium. I know isolation ball has a lot of haters against it just because it's like, you know, you want to move the ball, but in the playoffs, when that ball movement breaks down, you need to have isolation scorers, and Jalen Brunson has been really incredible scoring the ball.
Another good isolation player is Kyrie Irving, but they seem like they kind of do it in a different way. It's I don't know. Brunson seems a little bit more efficient. He's got it's funny, they actually have some similarities that they're good. They have good ball handling skills, good like mid-range games, good footwork, that sort of stuff. But it's different in a way I almost can't even really describe. Maybe Brunson, there's not a great scouting report on him because his ascension has been kind of sudden and unexpected over the last couple of years. But.
Yeah, I feel like Kyrie is always going for that Uncle Drew moment, you know, getting the gasp from the crowd, and not necessarily as focused on efficiently scoring.
Blazer legend Josh Hart, you guys brought him up earlier. Let's just play the sound and just reminisce of his days on the Blazers.
Heart of the city.
You know, I really wish we could not stop believing about the Blazers, because that would be a great feeling to be where the Knicks are right now. So congrats, Knicks fans.
He's putting them on Hard Island. Look it up, guys. Next series, the 76ers swept the Nets in 4 despite a knee sprain to Joel Embiid, which, I don't know, could that have consequences for the next series? It could be a problem really for the rest of his season. It's hard to know how quickly he'll recover. And despite the nut flop from Royce O'Neal that led to James Harden getting ejected during a game, despite some of that turmoil, the 76ers pretty easily disposed of the Nets. Tyrese Maxey played well. Harris played well. Their role players really got going around Embiid and Harden. So no surprises there. 76ers, the Nets just weren't the same team that compiled the record that they had this year. You know, they probably would have been more like a play-in team this year if they had that. You don't think so?
I mean, they were just a team of basically role players. Mikal Bridges really did step up.
They played pretty well when they were together during the regular season, but again, it could be like a scouting report thing. Exactly. Not that many teams knew what to expect from them.
They weren't built for a deep playoff.
No.
Let's put it that way.
You know, it was interesting going in. The 76ers were a team to watch in terms of like maybe their team breaking up if they failed going into the postseason, and they lucked out not playing a team like the Miami Heat, which would have given them real problems. Yeah. Instead, they basically got a first-round bye, in my opinion. I know that the games were kind of close, but when you can sweep an opponent without your best player on the road, that just shows what you're playing against. And really quick, I did want to touch on something. Did you guys see Dame at half court against at the Nets game?
I saw it.
Was he house shopping or was he scouting for players? That's the question.
You know, there's rumblings that, according to Chris Haynes, he was just there, you know, with his music and touching on some deals. But it's a little, you don't know if he's recruiting Mikal or if he's checking the Nets out, like what you just said. So it's going to be interesting to see if there's some Dame smoke in Brooklyn going into the offseason, because
or Philadelphia for that matter.
Or Philadelphia. I don't really like a trade package based around Tyrese Maxey, only because you know, we have Anthony Simons, a very similar player, but maybe if that's where he demands to go, that might be what has to happen.
Yeah, when Dame, he was kind of missed when we shut him down. He wasn't on the bench, you know, for the last few weeks of the season. I didn't see him over there, and it concerned me a little bit. And then I realized, he's working on his music. He released his single, or what do you call it, freestyle. And so, yeah, he's just focused on his other entertainment endeavors right now, I think.
It's probably kind of a bummer to sit there and watch the tank go on for another season. So if that's what it takes for him to not feel like he's just on a losing terrible team, so be it. He doesn't need to be there for it. None of us needed to be there for that.
How much Drew Eubanks and Kevin Knox can you really watch? I mean, I like both of those guys, but how much can you really enjoy?
Shaden was enjoyable, and that made it worth it.
Until they shut him down, too, because
For
they
one
were
game.
because they were tanking so hard. All right, now this isn't a Blazers discussion. We just didn't have anything to say about this Philadelphia series. I don't think it was cut and dry. Next series, it's been a little bit interesting, although it looks like last night the Celtics really took the advantage against the Atlanta Hawks. They did have a good game 3 in Atlanta where they were able to get the win, but Celtics are just too deep, too much talent. It looks like they'll probably be finishing off the Hawks here fairly soon.
How many brain cells do you have to just run into the referee and get suspended? Ugh. DeJounte Murray, come on, man. You're an all-star guard. Who cares if things aren't going your way? Why would you get suspended over something so stupid?
Did you see in the offseason when he was playing like street ball, he would take the ball and like slam it against an opponent's head when they were like face guarding him? That really changed my perception of DeJounte Murray. I'm like, oh, the dude's a fucking douchebag.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is that? That would just... I saw comments in the post where people were like, if he does that to me, we're fighting. And I'm like, that is just such a tool thing to do. It really changed my perception. Even if he was like messing around or if he knew the guy or whatever, it was just a bad look. And I've kind of had a side eyes towards him ever since I saw that.
So I've been of the opinion for the last couple of years that I mean, maybe it's not even really true this year because the Hawks had a pretty mediocre record. I'm like literally the definition of mediocre.
One win, one loss. Yeah. One win, one loss.
But even when the Hawks, they had that season where they got like the 3rd or 4th seed or whatever.
Made the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah. Even at that point, I felt like they were kind of overrated. And I think Trae is overrated. And I'm not alone. I don't know if you guys heard, but they did the anonymous player poll with everybody in the NBA. And he was rated the most overrated player in the NBA by his peers. That sucks. That would not be a good feeling to be him. And he responded to that with a really good game that they won. And now they're getting humbled again. And yeah, they're just not as good as the Celtics. They weren't as good as the Celtics are even when they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. So this
sounds like a take that an Atlanta fan would have about Damian Lillard too. I could very easily make that comparison. They're just two guys that, they've each made a conference finals basically one time in their career. Other than that, it's a lot of first-round exits. It's a lot of defensive problems. Very good on offense. They can both shoot the ball from long range, but they just have problems when you're of that stature and, you don't really have any other great skills other than shooting. I mean, Trae's actually maybe a better natural passer than Lillard. But again, getting off topic a little bit, back onto our hometown Blazers.
Dame didn't have multiple votes from his peers as being the most overrated player in the league, so that tells you something.
Because he's not even making the playoffs.
Trae,
no one's rating him.
Trae is still young. Okay, so he can improve.
I see what you did there.
My favorite part about that poll that they had from the players was one player voted the Memphis Grizzlies, not just a player. They voted as the most overrated the Memphis Grizzlies.
We'll have some more.
We'll
have some more to say about the Grizzlies coming up. Stay tuned.
Hilarious. Whoever it was, probably Draymond.
Yeah, and Clay. Yeah, I heard. I think it was Kyle Kuzma came out and said something about the Grizzlies too. He said that no one in the league likes them.
I wonder why.
There's been a couple players, both anonymous and guys who put their name to it, that have come out and just said that that team annoys them, which is it's funny. But we'll talk about them. We will. Moving on to the Western Conference, the Nuggets and Timberwolves. The Timberwolves staved off elimination last night. Looking like it might be a gentleman's sweep for the Nuggets unless they can shock everyone and win another. Minnesota can win one in Denver. But, the Nuggets, they look pretty good. They look better than I thought they would. I mean, Minnesota can make any team look good, potentially. They made Shaden Sharp, Drew Eubanks, Mays, and Kevin Knox look amazing when they were able to beat the Timberwolves just a few short weeks ago. But the Nuggets do look good. Having Murray, Porter, and Jokic all healthy with a deep supporting cast around them, they look like they could make a playoff run, really. I mean, Jamal Murray, I think, is really the catalyst for that team, the guy that can take them to the next level. Obviously, Joker's going to give you, kind of a standard, what he's going to give you, a triple-double, and facilitate and do all the little things. But if Murray's having 40-point games and shooting the ball super well and taking over, really, they could win a championship at that rate.
Edwards is a problem. Let's just say that really quick because
he looks like a playoff player.
Yeah. And he in his post-game interviews, he's been saying all the right things. He said he never wanted to look back and say, I got swept in my career, which Blazer fans have seen sweeps.
He said he
before.
took that personally. I heard him say that. That's an MJ quote right there.
Yeah, in a couple of years, he might be one of the top players in the league. If not, he's probably already in the top 20 in my mind. But
that duel in Game 2 between Murray and Edwards was a thing of beauty. That was fun to watch. Both those guys just trading haymakers.
Yeah, the Nuggets have too much for the Timberwolves, but in a couple of years, Edwards might be scary once they refit the roster around him. They're probably trade.
Other than Edwards, the roster's a bit of a mess, as we've detailed on this podcast before. The Gobert Cat thing just has clearly not worked, but Edwards definitely, if they can put a team around him, he will be a problem.
Yeah, the bigs on Minnesota are just getting picked apart by the bigs on Denver, and it's very obvious that there's a huge talent discrepancy there. But Anthony Edwards looks like someone to watch. Wouldn't mind seeing him go somewhere else.
Yeah, also Minnesota has a big problem with walls. Don't punch them, guys. I'm telling you, it's a bad idea.
I don't think that would have changed this series, but it's...
A perimeter defender to put on Murray would have done... I mean, maybe in a game. It might have got them another game, potentially. I don't think it would have gone much further than 6, though, for the Timberwolves. Alert the presses! The Los Angeles Clippers are having injury problems in the playoffs. No Paul George, no Kawhi Leonard. Clearly relying on their role players to try to win them a series against a team that has Devin Booker, Chris Paul, Kevin Durant, DeAndre Ayton. Just too much from Phoenix. They're up 3-1 in the series right now. They'll probably be finishing them off here soon. Shout out Russell Westbrook. He's doing everything he can to try to inspire his team, try to move them forward. He's gained a lot of respect in my book in the last few weeks for his play with the Clippers, and in this series went 17 for 29 in the last game, which might be the best he's ever shot in his career. Didn't take a single free throw, though. Refs versus Clippers in that matchup. But Suns, they're my favorite to win the whole thing, and they're looking like they're gelling at the right time. They got 2 unstoppable offensive talents, plus Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton. They're going to be a chore to get out of the playoffs this year.
I called it when they made the move for Durant. I mean, as long as they just don't slip on a banana peel in the layup line, I don't think there's any way they're going to be beaten unless maybe the Bucks can do it. But, going in, I was hoping for a more competitive series. And with Kawhi, the Clippers might have had a shot.
Yeah.
He was that good in game 1.
For a game and a half. They got a good game and a half out of him.
Yeah, it's too bad because... the Clippers might have been able to knock the Suns out, but I don't see a lot of other teams in the West giving the Suns enough problems. The Warriors maybe could. The Kings maybe could give them some scoring problems.
If it comes to that, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about that here in a minute.
It's just, what can you say? The Suns are stacked. As long as their core 4 is healthy, they're probably going to win.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of depth, but it's like anybody you put with 3 or 4 of those guys, the lineup's going to be brutal.
Yeah, I had this as a potential surprise because I think that Phoenix has some cracks that could have been exposed, but they weren't. They sealed those cracks up pretty well. I think that they're gelling at the right time, like you said, and it could be pretty hard for anybody to beat them if they keep playing like this and if they don't have any injury problems. We've talked about this before, but with LA, it would have been a totally different story if they had Kawhi and Paul George or either one of them for the whole series. I mean, we're going on so many years now of Kawhi playing like 16 games in the regular season to save it for the playoffs, and then playing like one playoff game, and then he's down. Are you kidding me? What
chronic knee issues?
What
It's just
the load management isn't working either. It's you get one playoff game out of him. That's not worth it. So. Yeah, it's disappointing because obviously just an extremely talented guy, but he's apparently just not built for the league.
yeah.
Steve Ballmer is going to need some roster developers.
Developers. Okay, moving on to the series to watch so far. We knew it going in, and boy, has it delivered.
Yeah.
Sacramento Kings and Golden State Warriors tied 2-2 after the Warriors win both of them in the Bay, going back to Sacramento for Game 5. De'Aaron Fox, broken finger on his shooting hand, broken index finger right where that ball comes off. That's a series changer. I had the Warriors, winning this one deep into the series. I think that's probably the death nail for the Kings. I think there's a chance, but it's going to be really hard for them to win if your best player is having pain shooting the ball. If he toughs it out and pulls a Kobe on us, that'd be the birth of a legend. But it's looking like the Warriors are probably gonna out veteran the Kings in this one.
I'm a little sad because
Colton has a special attachment to this one.
The one thing that could have stopped it is that kind of a random lucky for the Warriors injury that just happened after the whistle. It was literally a nonchalant play. We kind of called it, talking about it last week, how we said, we thought the home teams are going to win.
Mm-hmm.
If Harrison Barnes makes that shot, we're talking about the Kings being up 3-1.
But he didn't make the shot, did he, Cole? He did.
Big if.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
There's a lot of ifs in basketball.
He didn't make the shot. But
both of the games in Sacramento
2-2.
were close, too.
It's still 2-2. Kings are going back to their crowd. If they just hold serve for now, and if De'Aaron Fox is out, they probably will lose. But if De'Aaron Fox plays and is at least takes some of the defensive attention away, they could win still. It's going to be tough. Sabonis actually has to show up. And, it's been a great series to watch. But
I think Game 4 was probably the best game of the season, I'd say. I mean, it was just back and forth all game long. A 1-point game with a chance to win at the buzzer. It's like, what more could you ask for as a basketball fan?
It's been the best series maybe in a couple of years for me, honestly. It's been a ton of fun to watch. Every game, and even the games that I haven't been able to watch, the highlights alone have been worth the price of admission. De'Aaron Fox has been going toe-to-toe with Steph Curry. They're both averaging 31.5, and De'Aaron has more rebounds and quite a few more assists. He's playing, not only is he playing scoring guard, he's playing point guard at a pretty high level. The problem is that we said everyone was going to win their home games, and we'd probably go to a Game 7, and then I think we kind of diverged on what we thought could happen there. But with Game 5, if they don't have De'Aaron, then I think the Warriors win Game 5, and then I don't think the Kings beat them in the Bay, even if De'Aaron comes back. Because apparently they're thinking it might be a fairly quick turnaround time on the injury, at least to get him back up and playing. But, he might be back for like a Game 6 or 7, but if they lose Game 5, it doesn't matter, I don't think.
Yeah, the Keegan Murray finally showed up in Game 4, so, that's something for him. The Red Rocket Kevin Huerter has not been very good either. He's not shot the ball very well, and it seems like the Warriors, their role players, are playing better. Like you said, Fox has been going toe-to-toe with Curry, but it seems like the Warriors' role players have outperformed the Kings a little bit. And now that the Warriors have some momentum, going back to Sacramento after winning 2, I think it's going to be a tall task for the Kings to slow them down.
We'll see what happens.
You still have faith?
You still have faith.
Colton's still in!
Come on, Kings.
Light the beam!
Malik Monk's going to go off. That's my prediction this next game.
If Fox isn't playing, who's starting? Mitchell?
Probably Davion.
With Monk still coming off the bench. Yeah, he's a ball handler, but he's not really a true point guard.
Davion has played well in the playoffs.
Especially defensively. Yeah. He's really given Curry work.
Yeah.
their best hope is to try to run the same game plan, just with a different point guard, and see if they can try to go through Sabonis and some of their other guys.
That's going to be tough, though, because Fox is, a superstar player who hits big shots and clutch. It's like if you don't have that particular guy, you can't really run the same game plan.
Don't get me wrong. They're in trouble.
I have a weird feeling he might try to just play in the next game no matter what, and just play through it, and we'll see what happens from there.
He could still, he relies a lot on his athleticism, not really his shooting as much, so he could still have a decent game. Mm-hmm. There's still a chance that the Kings could pull this out. I just think with the combination of the injury and the momentum Golden State has built, both the games in Sacramento were close too, and if anything shifts a little bit, it's going to be tough for them to slow down the Warriors' momentum, like I said. The Dillon Brooks versus LeBron James show has been very fun to watch. That just drama in that series. It's been interesting. I still think that series is still up in the air. It looks like the Lakers, they took advantage. They took control, wrangled control in game 3. What was it, 35-9 first quarter, something like that. I think it was the second biggest lead in the first quarter in NBA playoffs history. They really dominated. But the rest of that game, Memphis slowly chipped away. Ja Morant is back, and he got in a good rhythm. He had 45 points. So if he continues to play well, if his hand continues to feel better, then I still think that they could give the Lakers fits. They play Game 4 tonight in LA, and I think that game is really going to be the deciding game. If the Lakers win, it's obviously over, up 3-1. If the Grizzlies win, I think it's anybody's series with maybe a slight edge to the Grizzlies.
Dang. I still think the Lakers have the upper hand in this, and the size problem is just a lot for the Grizzlies to overcome with their injured bigs. Ja was crazy in that game, but I don't know. Dillon Brooks basically is pulling a Lance Stevenson, blowing in LeBron's ear. We all remember that didn't work, and we're seeing it happen once again. Let's piss off the second best player in NBA history.
He pokes bears, bro.
Then look what happened. He pissed off LeBron, and they went out 35-9. So I don't know if it was a good idea.
It's funny. It wasn't even really LeBron either. It was LeBron's teammates. It looks like they were the ones that took it personally. And they're like, screw you, Dillon. We're going to go off. Rui Hachimura, dude. Holy crap. That guy is shooting like 70%.
What did they trade to get him?
Balling out.
What did they trade to get him?
I don't even remember. A bunch of trash.
Second-round picks.
Oh, my God.
Second-round picks are valuable.
People. The NFTs of the NBA.
Bro, the Lakers always get bailed out. You were right on that. They didn't get a superstar, but they got every role player they needed to have a playoff run.
Yeah, I think that the game tonight is a must-win for the Grizzlies, absolutely. Maybe that's obvious to say because you don't really come back from 3-1 very easily, but they are, I'm sure, feeling it because the Lakers really snatched momentum.
We have breaking news right now. The Heat won Game 4. They're up 3-1. They won 119-114. That throws everybody's bracket in disarray.
We should revisit that series really quick.
Brook Lopez, 36 points. Jimmy Butler, 56 points. You were right. He had like 20-some in the fourth quarter. What a run by the Heat.
56?
56 points on 19 of 28 shooting, 15 of 18 from the free throw line. Oh my goodness. What was the final score? 119-114 Miami.
So Miami's up 3-1.
3-1
on the Bucks.
That completely throws our Eastern Conference brackets into disarray.
What a huge comeback.
The Bucks could still win.
They could.
The Bucks could still win the series, but
3-1 is a tough thing to come to.
Okay, let me ask you guys this and be clickbait really quick. Trouble in Milwaukee?
Let's get Giannis to Portland!
Hey, if the first seed drops to the 8th seed and their team is as good as it is somebody pissed off?
When's the last time that an 8th seed beat I think
it's happened a couple
Memphis
times.
Did it to San Antonio or something a few years back.
That was a long time. That was grit and grind.
Yeah, and then there was the legendary Golden State beating Dallas, but that was back in like 2007,
I think it's happened
2008.
More recently one other time.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't think of what that was, but what a shocker.
Yeah, we could look
We're looking it up.
Yeah, it did not look like that game was going to go that way when we started recording. It really looked like Milwaukee had the game in hand. I even remember, I think Reggie Miller, the great brain of Reggie Miller. At some point, he was saying something like, they're only up 9, but it feels like they're up 19. And that is kind of what it felt like. The whole game.
Jimmy said, screw you guys. I'm taking playoff Jimmy is not to be trifled with.
Man.
What a win. That's insane. That really shocked me. I looked it up and I was like, oh God, I got to let Riley finish so I can... That's insane.
Well, that does change some things because I don't really... Even though I think Milwaukee is a really hard out for anybody, they're down 3-1. That gives Miami a lot of chances to win this series, and they're not incompetent enough, I don't think, to drop that many games in a row.
I don't know. With Spoelstra, it's tough to beat a Spoelstra team 3 times in a row.
With Jimmy playing like this?
Okay, is Jimmy going to do that for 3 games? Because they need his scoring to do that. That's the problem.
They need one more game.
I know, but I don't know if it can happen.
We're speechless at this point.
I've seen Jimmy do this before in the playoffs, but I feel like without Hero, can he do it enough to get a dub again? Maybe.
Yeah, going back to Milwaukee for Game 5, the Bucks will have a chance to kind of regroup, lick their wounds, maybe regain some momentum in the series. But yeah, shocking result. So with that shocking news, the Heat going up 3-1 on the Bucks. Have you guys changed your predictions for that series or any other series so far? With the first round kind of maybe about halfway through.
I need you to edit this video because my hat just snapped. And I got a hat here. You're not going to edit it.
This is going in the video. Colton, fix your hat.
All right, snapback hat. Anyways, the Celtics are going back to the finals.
That's a big change.
Yeah. They were they were definitely my fallback option. I think it was really close between those two. It was a neck and neck race, and
watch the Knicks just go on a crazy run. Josh Hart.
So you're changing your prediction there because you had the Cavs. You guys both had the Cavs. I
am changing my prediction there, and I think that the Milwaukee Heat series is going to go to 7. I kind of said it early on; it could go 6 or later. I think, but I guess I might change to the Heat now. Yeah.
Heat, so you got the Heat and Knicks instead of the Cavs and Bucks.
3-1's
That's
tough.
what happens.
3-1's tough.
That's why they play the games, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I totally have the Heat beating the Bucks now because 3-1. Jimmy just has to have one more great game, and they can do it.
Yeah, Game 6 back in Miami. That's, I think, their golden opportunity.
And same deal with the Knicks. The Knicks are they're gonna win another game before the Cavs can win 3. And then in the West,
I think Riley has something to say in the West. You had the Clippers over the Suns, which I think you should probably change.
No, I don't. The Suns, they figured it out, and I don't know. I mean, there's still a possibility that they could run into injury problems in the second or third round, but not this one. They're going to pull it out.
You're sticking with the Kings.
Still riding with the Kings, switch. Baby.
And I am, it's borderline for me, but I am going to hold on to the Grizzlies. I've still got them somehow upsetting the Lakers. Who did you had the Grizzlies before Game 1, but then did you switch to the Lakers? Have you switched?
I remember talking about the matchup being the Kings and the Lakers and how the Kings could outrun the Lakers. Yeah,
because that was after Game 1, but before that you'd taken the Grizzlies before the series started.
Sounds right. Yep.
So you're switching that one too. You're on board with me.
No, I was on the Lakers. After when we talked last time, I was already on the Lakers. I'm not changing it again.
If you change twice, so it's we're just gonna cancel you. You lost. All right, crazy day in the NBA. Crazy playoffs. Just a beautiful time to be a basketball fan. It's good times. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.